Hello, everyone. So just as you said, is to just have something nearby, and then of course always any extra things that you want. If it's warm in your space, if it's cool in your space, just kind of having everything within hand's reach, water, so that way you don't have to go up and look for it. And we'll do a little bit of movement to start, and then we'll end with a little bit of restorative. So we'll kind of release the body a little bit and then settle in for sleep time. So we'll start seated today. And you can always sit yourself up on a blanket or a bolster. And if it feels okay, you can start to cross your legs. And it doesn't have to be a really tight cross. It can be loose. If it doesn't feel comfortable to keep the legs crossed tonight, you can always extend the legs out. And then don't forget, you can add that pillow or blanket underneath the bum for just a little bit of extra height. Sometimes that can help allow the cross-legged seated position to be a little bit more comfortable. And feel free to move around a little bit when you first get here. You can bring your hands to rest on your legs. Maybe start to close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Start to soften through the jaw. The muscles of the face. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Start to settle in. Start to check in. Start to feel the breath if you haven't already brought your awareness there. Beginning to breathe in and out. Allowing your breath to be your anchor tonight. So when you feel yourself getting pulled away or distracted from movement or stillness, I invite you to come back to your breath. Let's just find 3 more rounds of breath here. They may start to naturally get a little bit longer. But you can breathe in and out through the nose and the mouth, or just the nose. Find something that doesn't feel like it's adding any extra stress in your body tonight. One more. And just start to bring your chin to your chest. Your hands can stay wherever they were, or you can shift them. And just nice and gently start to rock your head from side to side. We're not trying to go really fast, just adding a little bit of movement into the neck. It may feel like a lot. It may feel like nothing. You may feel it in some spots and not others. Just a couple more. The next time your chin finds the center of the chest, just pause. And nice and slow, start to lift your head up, and let's roll the shoulders. You can be really dramatic about it, making some big movements. And roll them the other way. Kind of releasing any of tightness that may be sitting in the shoulders and neck from your day, from being on your computer or on your phone. And if your legs are bent, go ahead and straighten the legs out. And just go ahead and shake the legs. And just let the feet rock, let the knees rock. And if you feel like you even want more range, you could always lean back on your hands and feel the thighs rock. You lean back on your hands, just start to bring yourself back upright and bend your left leg. So the sole of the foot starts to kind of come towards the inside of the right leg. At any point, you can add that pillow or bolster or blanket or sweatshirt underneath your bent knee or even underneath your straight leg, like right at the knee, just to kind of give it a little bit of height. And sometimes that can just help you relax into the shape a little bit more. And bring your hands in front of your feet and your foot, and then they might just stay there, or you can start to walk your hands a little forward. And you're always welcome to add a little bit of movement. Sometimes it's helpful to move a little bit and then pause, than to just try to go into that pause. Just 2 more breaths. We're not going to stay too long, just getting a little stretch on the low back, on the legs. And you can stay with that little lean forward and just start to walk your hands towards the right leg. So over that straight leg. And again, your hands might still be just kind of at your thigh, at your foot, or they can be further down the leg. And you can always play with it once you're there. You don't have to stay where you start. As you come towards the right leg, though, feel as if you're trying to actually stretch the left side of the lower back. Again, you might feel it, you might not. You might sometimes, and you might not all the time. Just one more breath. Walk your hands back to the middle and we'll lift up from the center. Before we come to the other side, go ahead and lean back on your hands. Place your feet on the floor and just gently rock the knees from side to side. So still kind of finding that movement, but this time with just the knees bent. And then we'll straighten the legs out again. Bend your right leg. Excuse me. Set yourself up, adding any props underneath the legs. Bring your hands towards your right foot. They can stay there. You can just kind of lean a little forward from there, or you can walk your hands a little bit forward. And your sides might feel a little different too. And you might feel each side in different spots. A lot of times the spots that are the tightest you're gonna feel that first. And the sides don't always have the same tightness. So a couple more breaths forward. Start to walk your hands over to the left leg. Again, feel almost as if you're trying to stretch right out of that right hip. Last breath here. And start to walk yourself back to the center. Then we'll bring ourselves up from there. And you might extend the legs or bend the knees. You can kind of just find that rock and shake, letting it all go. And before we change positions, we're going to stay seated for a little bit longer and just bring the soles of the feet together. So you can always kind of adjust the hips. You can add more layers on your pillow or even take the pillow away if you have it. And as we bring the feet together, they can be far away from the body. They can be really close and tight to the body. They can be somewhere in the middle. And again, you can always place those levels of support, anything soft underneath the knees. That way that your legs just don't have to work so hard, especially if you feel like you're really activating the legs to keep them there. Add that extra layer of support. And then maybe you lean a little forward, or maybe you're good right here. Your gaze can be forward, or your chin can be towards your chest. Remembering to reconnect to your breath. One more breath here. We're not holding anything too long. You'll slowly start to bring yourself up. Any movement that feels good to rinse out. And we'll start to make our way into a tabletop position, coming onto your hands and your knees. So you can always take that pillow, take that blanket and place it underneath your knees. You have a little extra support. And even as we come into a tabletop, if it's not comfortable for any reason to be on your hands, you can always drop onto your forearms. And it actually makes you have to think about your core a little bit more, so you're not dropping that belly button to the ground. And then find any movement when you first get here. So you can move through some traditional cat-cows. And rock the hips from side to side. You can even start to turn the fingers out, just getting a little bit of stretch through the wrists and maybe even find some circular motions. Especially if you're on a keyboard all day. And take about 2 more rounds of breath. Any movement. And start to extend your right leg back. So just curling the toes onto the ground. And you're going to turn your left toes towards the left side as you roll onto the inside of your right foot and reach the left arm up to the sky. This is your right arm. Your right arm up to the sky. And almost feel like you're just trying to press the floor away and reach the right arm forward. So you're just getting a nice long stretch through the right side of the body. And bring yourself all the way out of it. And we'll do the same on the other side. So just extend your left leg back. You'll kick your right toes all the way over to the right as you roll onto the inside of the left foot and reach your left arm up. You can stretch the left arm forward, really reaching through the left side body. And bring it all the way down. Start to press your hips back towards your heels. And then just bring yourself up. So just kind of moving into this little side low back stretch. Feel like you're trying to create more length in the sides of the body. One more. Come back to that tabletop position. And step your right foot forward. So it doesn't matter if it takes 20 steps to get it there or 2. You'll just start to bring yourself up. You can keep your hands on your thigh to start. If you feel a little wobbly, you can always bring the hands to the ground and rest them. Rest them on pillows or blankets. If you feel pretty steady, you can reach the arms out to the sky. Just one more breath. And bring your hands to the ground. Bring your right knee back. And bring your left foot forward. Then again, you can keep your hands on the ground for support, or you can bring your hands up to your thigh. If you're feeling really steady, you can reach your arms up to the sky. Your sides are gonna likely feel a little different as usual. Just one more breath. And then bring your hands to the ground. Slide that left knee back. And let's come all the way onto your belly. I'm gonna get off the knees for a minute. You can make a pillow with the hands, or you can have your arms by your side. Reconnect to your breath. Feel that belly breathing right on the floor. And rock your hips a little bit from side to side. Find a little bit of movement, of motion. And then just start to walk your hands by your rib cage, hugging the elbows into the side. And just start to lift your forehead and your chest away from the ground. Just as a little lift. A little bit of activation here. And release everything down. Lift up your forehead and your chest. Just again, a little lift. And lower everything down. One more lift up. And lower everything down. So find your way back to your table. You can take any movement here. And we'll do the same thing we did last time. We'll extend our right leg back. Send those left toes, left shin towards the left side, and reach the right arm up to the sky. If you want to play a little bit with balance here, you can even see how it feels to start to just float your right foot up off of the floor. And maybe it goes an inch, maybe it stays there, maybe it comes back down. Just one more breath. Release everything down. And extend your left leg back. And we'll do the same thing. So kick your right shin towards the right. Left arm reaches up to the sky. If you want to play with that balance, maybe start to float the left foot up off of the floor. Last breath. And lower everything down. Let's start to shift your hips to your heels, except this time we're gonna pause there. You can always slide some of those props underneath the belly as we come into the child's pose. If your body isn't feeling good in child's pose tonight, you can always come onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. The child's pose-esque, just on your back. We're actually all gonna come to our back anyway, so you don't have to worry about flipping back over. So wherever you are, take a few more breaths before we move. If you were in a regular child's pose, go ahead and find your way onto your back. So you can take as long as you want to get there and take whatever you want on the way. Take whatever you want to get there. Take whatever you want when you arrive. And we'll start to meet with butterfly legs. So just like we took when we were seated, you can bring the soles of the feet together, allow the knees to drop wide, and go ahead and slide any support underneath the thighs or the knees to just help you relax into the shape. You can keep your arms by your side or bring them out into a T or a Y. Continue to hold and breathe and bringing your attention and focus back to your breath. Also, just reminding yourself that it is much harder to release than it is to activate. Last 2 rounds of breath here. Slowly start to bring your knees back together. You can let the knees bend and pause there, or it might even feel better to extend the legs long. Any motions and movements that you want here. Start to hug your right knee into the chest, just your right leg. You can keep your left foot on the floor. Just squeeze your right knee in. Maybe you're holding at the top of the knee. Maybe you're holding behind the knee or holding onto your pants. Still a little compression on the belly. And gently release. And hug your left knee in. Again, you can hold your knee behind the knee in front of it. Hold your pants. It's creating a little bit of compression. You can even move the knee a little bit over to the side. And place the foot on the floor. Rock the knees from side to side, a little windshield wiper. Maybe the hips start to get involved. Allow the feet to come back to the center, knees point up to the sky, and lengthen just your left leg long. Just kind of let the leg relax. You might shake it out a little bit to just remind it to let go a little. And we're going to take the right leg into that butterfly shape. So you can add support underneath the straight leg or the bent knee, just like when we were seated. If you feel like your hips are wanting to pull one way or the other, just let it. That's totally fine. Kind of just helping your body find your center because your legs are uneven. Anything you want with the arms. We're in this reclined tree pose. And that foot, that right foot doesn't have to be right up on the left leg. It can even pull away from the leg a little bit. Sometimes as you play with where things are located, you can find a little bit more, a more comfortable space to hold and still feel some sensation. Few more rounds of breath here. Nice and slow, just start to place your right foot back on the floor. Let your left foot come to meet it. Any movement always between sides, between shapes. And we'll come into the other side. So bring that right leg straight, shake it out, remind it to relax a little bit. And that left knee can start to drop open. So switch props if you need to. Play with where the foot is. Allow the hips to kind of fall if they need to. Last few rounds of breath here. And start to bring your left knee back up to the sky. Straighten, bend your right leg. Anything you want to shake it off. And then just keeping the feet on the ground, allowing the knees to knock towards each other. It doesn't matter if they touch. It's getting a little bit of that internal rotation after all of that external rotation that we did. Start to hug your knees into the chest. You can rock the knees from side to side, a little massage to the low back. And let the knees just drop over to the right side. So the knees can stay stacked. You can always slide those props underneath your knees. Bring the knees all the way back to the middle and over to the other side. Bring the knees all the way back to the middle. And go ahead and reach for your props. So whether you have pillows or blankets or bolsters or both, and go ahead and slide them underneath your legs. So that way your knees and your thighs are elevated. But try to let them lift up enough so that way your feet can kind of still be rested on the ground. They can be as high as is comfortable. Sometimes the higher they are, more comfortable. Just let your arms come by your side. And really just take advantage of having some props and extra height under the legs. And if for any reason it is just not working for you today, you can always roll onto your side or throw your legs up a couch, preferably, instead of a wall today. And just begin to allow yourself to settle into this space. And for the end of our practice today, you'll have Shavasana in quiet. Don't worry, you always get that. And I'm going to guide you through just a really brief body scan meditation. That's just meant to promote some relaxation and a little bit of release as you kind of settle into the end of your day. Just begin to bring the awareness to the bottoms of your feet, the soles of your feet. Feel free to add any motion, any movement as I guide you through the body, or just be still. So having that awareness at the soles of the feet, to the toes, the tops of the feet, the fronts of the ankles, the calves, your shins, space behind the knee, the kneecaps, hamstrings, your thighs, your glutes, the outsides of your hips, your right hip and your left hip, your hip flexors, your right and your left, your lower back, your middle back, your upper back, your lower belly, your belly, your chest, your collarbone, the tops of your shoulders, your right shoulder, your left shoulder, moving down the back of your right arm, the top of your right arm, your palm, the top of your right hand, your right fingers, over the top of your left shoulder, the back of your left arm, the top of your left arm, your left palm, the top of your left hand, your left fingers, the back of your neck, the front of your throat, the back of your head, your ears, your jaw, the muscles between your eyes, the top of your head. Breathing into your whole body. Being still here with your breath. Taking these last few minutes in complete and total gratitude. Shavasana. Just starting to bring some awareness back into the space. Bring some awareness back into the body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. And rocking your head from side to side. Stretching your arms up overhead. And rolling onto your right side. Using the strength of your arms, beginning to press yourself up. Coming into a comfortable seat. And keeping the focus inside. Bringing your hands into your heart center, gently bow your head. Thanking yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.